Good evening. Hi, this is Christine Crow here, and today we're going to be talking about Russia's gold empire. The mines that they have, they've got 5 mines, and this is all behind Russia's wealth, for example. So today's video, I'm going to be jumping straight into this. Now, could Russia, with its vast network of gold mines, be more than just about mining? So, as the world is realigning, for example, the US is diplomatically, it's growing warmer under shifting leadership. So, some wonder, are gold and silver becoming the new battleground of quiet economic war? And in today's episode, I want to talk to you about one of the, well, quite a few of the mines really. So one of them is called Olimpiada Mine. This is Russia's largest gold producing mine, and it can really go deeper than that, because let's look at the top 5 richest gold mines in the country, which together produce 2.75 million ounces of gold, and that was in 2021. So how much do they truly have? So with Russia's central bank now, it's doubling its official gold reserves over the past decade. Many are left asking, is there more gold than what they report? Now, I don't know whether, and maybe if someone knows this, I don't know whether all of the countries have to say how much gold and silver that they have, and there's some sort of world data of gold and silver, because that would be really interesting to know. For example, are these countries really telling us how much gold and silver that they have, for example? So with Russia's central bank, like I said, it's doubling its official gold reserves, and even over the past decade, many have been asking this question. So is Russia preparing for a post-double world using gold as an economic armor, for example? So some facts here. One of the mines, which is Olimpiada Mine, it's got 1.9 million ounce, owned by Polyus, for example. Then the second is Natalka Mine, 498.7 K ounces, owned by Polyus, due to operate until 2042. Okay? So the next one, number 3, is Kapul, and also known as the Diavon 1 mine, for example. I know I probably said that, but please do forgive me. 434.6 K ounces, and that is owned by Kinross Gold. There's also Blackguard and Nond 1 mine, 424.4 K ounces, again owned by Polyus. And then there's also Vernon Oik mine, for example, which is 300.5 K ounces, also again owned by Polyus. So combined, this is an output of 60.56 million metric tons. Wow. And that's 2021 data. So we don't even really know what the true data is today, for example. But let's explore, shall we? So, how these mines power Russia's economic independence. We're going to also look at why Russia is keeping its gold within national borders and what global sanctions mean for Russia's secret trade routes. So whether Russia is using gold to support a future gold-backed currency, for example. There's also the fact that the West is falling behind, according to what I've been reading about regarding the precious metals race. So let's go into this slightly more, shall we? Some say that Russia may secretly control 2 times the gold it reports publicly. So this could explain its growing global confidence. Is this precious metal divide causing tensions with the EU, Canada, and US as alliances are shifting? So this is a 10-part series, and my name is Christine Crowell, and I am talking about the 10 most wealthiest gold and silver mines in the world, and today is about Russia. Tomorrow I'll be talking about Australia, and that is the Super Pit mine, for example. But today I'm talking about the mines in Russia. So do you think that Russia's real gold reserves are being hidden from the world? What do you think? I'd love to know your comments here. If you could drop something in the comments so I can have a look, because I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Do you think that they are giving us the true numbers, for example? What do you think? So I'm going to go more into this. So with regards to the series, this is the series, The World's Wealthiest Gold and Silver Mines. And really, today's theme is wealth, power, hidden gold, economic strategy, and global uncertainty. And although the main conversations, the reason why I'm talking about this is about you protecting yourselves and buying gold and silver, because the cash is devaluing, whereas with gold and silver, gold is going up and so is silver. Even though it's coming up slowly, it's still following gold. And in time, like how Warren Buffett does, you have to play the waiting game. You know, it's not going to come instantly, for example. And also with gold and with silver coins, for example, you can quite easily trade them in for cash as well if you need to. So, welcome. So tonight, like I said, we're going to enter the Russia Gold Empire. This is a nation of quietly building one of the most powerful reserves strategies on the planet that we don't even know of. We're not just talking about the Olimpiada Gold Mine, which is the largest in Russia. We're also talking about the potential of the hidden gold vaults that are unreported reserves, and whether this is all part of a silent economic war that could reshape the global power. Look, I'm not here to talk. I'm not here to get political, but I also want to ask that uncomfortable question. You know, I can't just not talk about that, for example. So with all this uncertainty and what we're seeing in the press, etc., and lives being affected and destroyed, and, you know, inflation, tariffs, countries falling out with each other, what is the reason? So let's start with some of the facts here. So Russia's top 5 gold mines. I'm going to give you a quick breakdown. I'll also put in the description the link of the gold mines and how much gold stock that they have and what years they are, etc. And you'll see that there's one that is actually depleting quite a bit, for example. But that's according to what we have data-wise. We don't know, because obviously it's what we are being given, that we can only go against what we have data-wise, for example. So let's start with the facts. So according to the global mining data, and this is from 2021 and we're in 2025. So here's the top 5 gold producing mines in Russia. So there's the Olimpiada mine. Okay. It is the largest gold producing mine in Russia, and it is owned by Polyus, who seems to own all of the mines. 1.09 million ounces of gold in 2021. It's expected to operate until 2030. See, their gold and their mines are depleting. Do you think that they're looking in their own country to see if they can find? Or do you think they're going out to look elsewhere, as what we're seeing in the news, for example? So this mine is meant to operate until 2030, which is 5 years time, for example. There's also the Natalka mine, and this has 498,700 ounces per year it is producing, for example. Again, it's also owned by Polyus, and it's going to operate, according to the data, until 2042. Then there's also Copal mine, owned by Kinross Gold, and this is 434,600 ounces per year. Then there's also Blaga de Oni mine, 424,400 ounces. Again, it's owned by Polyus. And number 5 is another mine, which is Vernis Oyi mine, for example, and it is 300,500 ounces. So 300,500 ounces. Again, it's owned by Polyus. So combined, and this is 2021 data, is 2.75 million ounces of gold, 60.56 million metric tons. So this is the run of the mine material. So this is just what was reported. But I don't believe we're getting the whole story here. So let's zoom in. Let's zoom into the king of them all. And that is the first one that I mentioned to you, the Olimpiada mine. What makes this mine so special is its high-grade deposits. It's located in central Siberia, for example, strategically hidden, heavily secured. There's advanced processing and there's techniques as well, leaching techniques, for example. So part of Russia has closed the loop mining and refining system. So this is more than just a mine. It's a symbol of economic sovereignty, according to Russia. So could this be part of a secret strategy to prepare for currency collapse or sanction proofing that the Russian economy? Let's also look at Russia's gold versus private vaults. So there are growing theories, and even the former Kremlin insider have hinted that Russians reported gold reserves of 2,300 tons is only half the truth. So they haven't really told the whole story. The real reserves could be double or more, or maybe it could be less. We don't know until you see it. So why is the secrecy there? So no fully public audit in over a decade has been done. Domestic productions like the mine is not exported. It's absorbed internally. They keep it within their state. So it's state-run banks and vaults, full control. So could this mean that Russia is setting a hidden vault to back a future gold-backed ruble, or currency? What do you think? Is Russia hiding gold from the world? So the strategy could be why gold is Russia's shield. Whilst we print more paper, Russia is digging deeper in the earth for gold and silver and rare minerals. So why does Russia see gold as an essential? It shields against the dollar based on sanctions. It stores real, tangible value that is immune to cyber attacks, i.e. digital crypto, for example. It helps fund wars. So Russia's buying the gold during sanctions. Was there a deal with China and Russia gold trade bypassing the USA, for example, the dollar? Is this the economic survival or long-term positioning for currency dominance? global divide. Is precious metal creating a friction? Now, here's what ties things together in today's global tension. Trump in America is really building momentum again. And the US boasts mining and resource independent. It keeps going on about they've got everything in America. They're going to start manufacturing again, for example. They're going to start doing this. They're going to start doing that. They're going to be drill, as he says, drill, baby, drill. And it is basically looking at how they can boost. That seems to be their superpower. And without it, it's like kryptonite. So we're seeing a growing divide. So the US and Canada, the divide is happening. The EU, it's uneasy about the BRICS and the US energy policy. And Russia is turning inwards, eastwards, Ukraine and things like that. For talking about precious metals, minerals. That seems to be the trade going on for people's lives. So could all of this create a resource-based Cold War? One, it is, it's looking at the gold bars, the silver contracts, and the restricted export. Do you think that countries are quietly preparing for a global reset built on gold? Yes, I do think that. I think there's going to be a reset because the currency, the cash, there's not much value. It's devaluing. That's why everything costs more. Everything costs more. So that means the value of the dollar and the pound and wherever you are in the world is going up. So it will become worthless. Whereas this is the reason why people are looking at the precious metals, the gold and the silver, because it holds its value. And that's why I've been talking so much about this, because usually I'm talking about care. Usually I'm talking about healthcare businesses, but I also was aware from last year where I was like, wow, this inflation is going to kick us hard. So we need to prepare, we need to plan. And for me, I believe that the way to plan is by buying gold or silver or both. Each month, put a small amount of money to buy silver. Silver is the lowest at the moment, but yet silver is the one that's going to be used more than anything because they need it. It's a dual purpose. It's not just for vanity. It builds things. It's industrial. It's manufacturing. It is a key element to production. Warren Buffett, he brought 3,500 tons of silver many years ago. He does like a 30-year cycle. But he also put stocks into a mining, into a mine, a company that was dealing with mines, for example. And I have a video here somewhere to do with Warren Buffett, and also there's the weekly report as well. But you know, I am not a financial advisor, and I cannot advise you on what you should invest in. All I can do is talk to you about what I've done and what I see other people doing. And in 2007, we brought scrap gold, we brought scrap silver, and we turned them into gold bars or coins, or silver bars or silver coins, for example. I've been through, before this recession, because you might as well say this is a recession, I've been through 3 recessions in my business life, and this is the 4th one. And sometimes you know what it's like. You don't really take things on board when it happens the first time. Some people do, don't get me wrong. Some people are quick, savvy, and fast at picking up on things. It takes me a while. It really does. But what I'm seeing today is that we need to look at this gold and silver before the prices get higher. The prices got higher because the money, the value of the money is nothing. So it's made everything go higher. The silver and the gold, for example. But silver is at, you know, it is low. It's a really good entry level to get into. And don't look at it as a quick fix. Look at it as a long-term thing. Look at it as for your pension. Look at it as for paying for a child's education, for example. Look at it as paying for a down payment on a house, for example. Look at it as a 5-10 year plan. Like Warren Buffett does. He's a master at this. He doesn't just jump. He waits, he analyzes, he sees, he looks at what the market is, and he's looking at the graphs of how things were, and he's building a picture, and he can see the patterns. And now I'm starting to see the patterns. It's taken me 30 odd years to pick up on this pattern. And gold and silver is a safe bet, for example. I mean, yes, you can build your portfolio getting other things. There's properties, but you got to buy at the right time. Look, you can even, I'll go into that on another day. That's going to be another video, for example. But there's gold and silver. You can buy them at dealers, or you can buy the scrap gold or silver, for example, and turn it into coins, etc., bars, etc. Okay, there's lots of ways that you can do to prepare, but there is a global, I believe that we're preparing for a global reset, which is built on gold and silver. And I believe silver is going to be like the tortoise that won the race. Hair is gold, the hair is gold, and the tortoise is the silver. So let's just think about that. Think about the gold and silver and start purchasing, even if it's one coin a month at $35, for example. Buy a silver coin at $35, for example. Silver is low at the moment, but it is increasing. And I believe that that's going to become the dark horse. That's going to become the beautiful black horse that runs ahead and wins. Because of its use. these mines all around the world, they're running out. They've only got so much stock globally, and it will run out in 20 years according to the data. And that's why they're looking for more gold or silver mines. But even if they discover it, it's still going to take time to process it. You know, just because you find gold and silver doesn't mean to say it's like, oh, instant. They've got to work it. It's got to be, the miners have to go in and make it as it should be because they're qualified to do so, for example. So what do you think? I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Do you think that we're preparing for a quiet, well, I won't say quiet. Do you think that we're preparing for a global reset built on gold and silver? There's a lot of distractions out there at the moment. Bad and good. But try and look at what you can control right now. See, Russia isn't just mining gold. It's trying to build influence and possibly changing the global currency system. And tonight, I wanted to ask you that question, that because the answers are still buried deep in these vaults that we don't even know about. I believe that a lot of the countries around the world are hiding these secret vaults. You know what it was like. I won't say you know what it was like, but imagine you've read those books, you've seen those movies where there's hidden treasure, hidden vaults, hidden gold, because they don't want you to know about it. I remember reading from when I was reading a book written by Robin Sharma. He talks about the monk that sold his Ferrari. But he also talked that there were some monks that many years ago they had this gold, and they were worried that it was going to be taken away from them. So they covered it in mud. And then a monk many years ago, I'll have to get the story out because I think it would be really good to talk about it. But many years ago, for example, 10 years after, these people that came to take over the land because they thought that there was gold on this land, but the monks hid the gold they covered it in mud so it couldn't be seen. It just looked like mud. It looked like nothing. And it got forgotten about because people had passed, years had gone by, for example, and then there was a monk walking past and it saw a glimmer, something shiny coming from the ground. It must have hit the sun at a certain point, and this shiny object was showing through. So this monk went over to this rock that was mud, for example. He was chipping away, and he then called the other monks, for example, to show them this shiny thing. What do you think it could be, for example? And they all started chipping away, and it turns out it was gold, lots of gold. So how many hidden gold and vaults is there in the world? Because gold and minerals, they can cause war. We're seeing it today. We're seeing it. So years ago, what they used to do is they would hide it because they didn't want their country or territory to be attacked. So they protected themselves by covering up and hiding the gold or the jewelry or whatever, for example. We all hear about these stories, don't we? So even though the data is telling us how much gold is in each country, there is a lot more. It's just we don't know about it. Only a few know about it. And I say a few, probably one or two people know about it, or special elite people know about it. What are your stories on that? What do you think about what I just said? Do you think that there is gold and silver hidden? Because I believe so, because we've all watched those films like Jewel of the Nile, for example. We've watched all these different films that have got different storylines that actually hold hidden treasure, for example. And I still believe that that is real today, that around the world there's hidden treasure. That's why a lot of people go around with metal detectors, for example, because you'd be quite surprised what you could find with a metal detector. You know, and people like to go out exploring, don't they, for example? But there's so much hidden treasure that we don't even know about, that we're not aware of, because it can cause a war. It can cause things to, we're seeing it where Donald Trump is tariffing everybody and saying, I'm going to take over this country, and it's just happening. It's happening all the time. And you can understand why people hide their treasures. Years ago, it was hidden and people fought over precious metals. And it's still happening today. But what we can do is we can get our precious metal by buying silver and getting gold and saving it, because we need to. Remember, you see, it's not like there's a Robin Hood out there that will take from the rich and give to the poor. It seems to be the other way round. We're getting a switch. But we can buy silver coins, we can buy gold, we can even buy scrap gold and scrap silver at a reduced price by doing what I used to do, doing gold parties, which worked really well when I did it with my husband. He was the one that started it. And it worked really well. And we did it monthly, for example. And it worked extremely well. That is the way that we can control and help and look at our future and plan for our future. Now, Warren Buffett has got some really good, amazing ideas. If you haven't read his books, if you haven't studied him, I would suggest you do, because he is absolutely amazing. He knows, him and his business partner, they both know about money at the highest level. And he brought the 3,500 tons of silver. He did that many years ago. And then he also recently invested in a mine. Not a mine, it was the company that was mining. It was the product that they was producing he invested in, for example. But he still was investing in gold and silver, for example, in that way, because it was the company, not the actual physical gold and silver, for example. Because you can imagine trying to store 3,500 tons of silver. You know, that's going to fill up a massive room, isn't it? People, even today, they are burying gold and silver in the ground somewhere. They're starting to really plan for their future, for example, because of the currency. The currency is devaluing. Inflation is just going up and up and up, for example. So by buying gold and silver is a good physical gold and silver I'm referring to here is a good bet, but you need to speak with a financial advisor if you want financial advice. But if you want to start your own gold and silver business, then click the link and book a free 15-minute appointment with me, and I'll go through with you. For example, I'm going to be sharing with you more about where to get them from, for example. So I'm going to be filming that as well. I'm going to be showing you how to weigh the gold, for example, or the silver. I'm going to show you how to test it. I'm going to be showing you I'm going to even show you how it gets smelted down and weighed, for example. I'm going to be showing you a lot of things because we need to be aware of that. We're in business. If you're in business, then there's something that you need to do to plan for if you get hit with an unexpected expense, for example. So like I was saying last year, August, September, to start saving at least 5 to 10% of your company's income, for example, to save for a rainy day, for example. Well, I believe now is the time to do that. And being in business, don't get me wrong, is a good investment. Just like gold and silver, having a business is still a good investment, providing you do the right things, because obviously there's a lot of changes, isn't there? There's more inflation. So this is the reason why I do AI automation for business owners, for example, because I know that because of the inflation, it can cause very difficult financial issues for them, for example. So think about getting gold and silver, but getting the physical gold and silver. I'm not talking about the paper one, because the paper one, it's not yours. It's on paper. That doesn't mean anything. You literally got to have it in your hand physically, so you know that you've got it and it's there. It's not going anywhere until you say so, until you're ready to sell a piece of it off, for example. But I would definitely be looking at buying at least a silver coin every month, for example, $35. And by the end of the year, that coin could be worth, the one that you spent $35 on, for example, it could be worth $800. The silver coin I'm referring to here. Because like I said, the silver is going to explode because it is dual purpose. They need it for manufacturing. They need it for more solar panels. They need it for renewable energy. They need it for the electronic vehicles, the batteries, for example. They need, because look around us. There's so many stations that is to do with electric cars, isn't there, for example? And I'm not going to talk about any brands here, but if you, in 2030, apparently all cars are going to be electric. So that's going to take more demand for silver, which is it's depleting the mines anyway. The silver mines are depleting. It's going to run out in 20 years' time. So that's why they've got to start looking for new discoveries to try and, it's going to be like the River Nile, the movie, for example. It's going to be like going back to that. Who's going to find this gold mine? Who's going to find this silver mine? These discovery people will be out looking, if they're not looking already, for example, which they probably are. But this is the future. This is how you can help secure your future, by getting gold and silver and buying those coins every month, for example, so that in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, you've got a nice savings then. And you've got, if you're using it for your pension, then you've got a good pension that you can enjoy your pension with, instead of living, pension payment to pension payment, and watching, being careful and going without, and not having your heating on when you should have, and buying food that's not, good for you, nutritional wise, for example, because you can't afford the healthy food. Treating yourself out for a meal. You're a pensioner, why not enjoy? Go on a holiday. Enjoy your life. And I believe if you do the gold coins or silver coins, then you'll be able to do that, because the currency isn't in the paper cash system that we've got today. It's the gold and silver is the monetary system that we'll be able to trade with and use, like how we did in the old days. There'd be a bag of coins of silver, bag of gold, here's one gold coin, for example. That's how we used to do trading. And I believe it's going to go back to that. There's going to be a reset back to the monetary system that we used to have many years ago. I believe something was signed the other day in America to say that that you can use silver and gold to get money. And you can, even in America, if you've got like gold, you can take it and someone will, just write you a check, for example, or wire it to you, So it is the way forward, is looking at how you can look at buying gold and silver, for example. And today's video really is to show you and make you aware of where gold and silver comes from and where these mines are around the world, just to open our minds, not just to buy gold and silver. It's, it's knowing where it's come from as well, because obviously there's different places around the world that we buy, that gold and silver comes from. So it's good to understand where these mines are, and just to see what the data is out there at the moment. But we're not getting the full data. There's a lot of hidden information, and I can understand why, tell you the truth, because otherwise people want to, the wars happen that way, don't they? Which is what we're seeing today. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's discussion on the mines around the world, the wealthiest mines around the world. And today was about Russia's gold empire and the mines it has, because it has 5 mines, for example, and it just helps us to understand where everything is coming from. So tomorrow is going to be about the mine in Australia. I'm going to be going on here 7:15 p.m. UK time, as well as 2:15 p.m. USA time, i.e. New York, Atlanta time, for example. And tomorrow we're going to be diving into Australia's gold mines as well. So I hope that you've enjoyed today. If so, please do subscribe to get further notifications of the videos of when I go live, for example. But today I wanted to, each day, this is a 10-part series. So over the next, over the 10 days, I'm talking about where these gold mines are around the world, silver mines are around the world, for example. And because it's good to be, well, I feel it's good to be aware of where they are as well. All right, so thank you so much. I hope that you've enjoyed today's session, and do like and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Do you think that they're providing us with the real information about the data that is out there telling us how much each country has got gold? I don't think so, because if they did, they would leave themselves vulnerable. So I understand why that is. So let's see what is in Fort Knox. We're still waiting to hear about that. Apparently something is missing, but we still haven't seen the evidence. Let's see the evidence. Show us. Let's see the paperwork. Then we'll know for real whether it's gone or not, because it's been shipped from England, for example, London, to New York. So what was that, all that gold and silver being drained from London, England, to go to America? What's happened to that? All right, so I hope that you've enjoyed today, and I look forward to talking with you tomorrow. Stay tuned for further videos and also trainings as well. If you want to contact me, my details are there in the description. I'd love to hear from you. If you are a coin or gold bars, silver bars, gold coins, silver coins, if you're a collector, I'd love to hear from you, because you know something, I want to applaud you for doing that. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and I will speak with you soon tomorrow, same time. Thank you. Bye.